Good morning, my dear students. Today we learn some problems on magnetic declination as well as magnetic dip. So, before we enter into the problems, first we should know the related formulas. Suppose it's a given plane, or this is a magnetic meridian plane, and this is the another plane. Now here the angle between the magnetic meridian plane and geographic meridian is known as the angle of declination, and is represented by alpha. Suppose if a magnetic needle is suspended freely in the magnetic meridian plane, it comes to rest along this direction. This means this is the direction of Earth's total magnetic induction BE. This Earth's total magnetic induction BE that makes some angle with the horizontal, it is called as delta, and delta is known as the angle of dip or angle of inclination. Now this BE will be resolved into two perpendicular components. Along this direction it is equal to BH, and along this direction its component is BV. Again, you know, BH is equal to BE cos delta and BV is equal to BE sin delta. But it is remembered that in this magnetic meridian plane, BH is equal to BE cos delta and BV equal to BE sin delta. Now BV by BH is equal to tan delta. BV by BH is equal to tan delta, and delta is called as the angle of dip. So in the magnetic meridian plane, the dip is known as the true dip. In any other plane, the dip is represented by delta dash, then tan delta dash is equal to tan delta by cos theta, where theta is the angle between magnetic meridian plane and the given plane. In the given plane, the dip is delta dash. In the magnetic meridian plane, the true dip is delta. Is the relation between true dip, apparent dip, and also angle between the two planes. Tan delta dash is equal to tan delta by cos theta. But it is remembered that in any plane, the vertical component remains constant, because always it is in downwards. Vertical component remains constant. Only the horizontal component will be changes from plane to plane. Right. So the first problem, right. Some more formula is there. Here BH and BV both are perpendicular. According to vector notation, a resultant of BV and BH is BE. Now the magnitude of resultant field is represented by BE is equal to root of BH square plus BV square. Right? Now here the first problem is, see here clearly, first problem is the ratio of horizontal and vertical components of here the ratio between horizontal component to the resultant magnetic field of Earth at a given place is 1 by root 2. What is the angle of dip at the given place? It is given the ratio of horizontal component means BH to the resultant magnetic field is BE. BH by BE is equal to 1 by root 2. It is given data. But we know that BH is equal to BE cos delta. From this, BH by BE is equal to cos delta. but BH by BE is given by 1 by root 2 is equal to cos delta, then delta is equal to 45 degrees. So the dip angle at the given place is equal to 45 degrees. Right? Second problem is the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic induction at a place is 0.32 into 10 power minus 4 Tesla. It is BH. Horizontal component. Angle of dip at this point is 60 degrees. This is delta. Find the value of vertical component. It's very simple, you know. Tan delta is equal to BV by BH. PV is equal to BH tan delta. BH is equal to 0.32 into 10 power minus 4 horizontal component into tan 60. Tan 60 is equal to root 3. Root 3 means 1.732. On multiplying these two, 0.55 into 10 power minus 4 Tesla. This is the vertical component. Right. The third problem is a magnet is suspended at 30 degrees with magnetic meridian makes an angle of 45 degrees with the horizontal. What shall be the actual value of angle of dip, real dip? The magnet is suspended at 30 degrees with the magnetic meridian. 30 degrees with the magnetic meridian means this is theta, angle between the two planes. Meridian that makes an angle of 45 degrees with the horizontal. So the given plane makes an angle 45 degrees with the horizontal means this is the apparent dip in that plane, delta dash. So you know theta is equal to 30 degrees, apparent dip delta dash is equal to 45 degrees. Let us calculate the true dip, delta is equal to question mark. Relation between these two is tan delta dash is equal to tan delta by cos theta. Now tan delta is equal to tan delta dash into cos theta, tan 45 into cos 30. So that is 1 into cos 30 is equal to root 3 by 2, that is 0.860. Tan delta is equal to 0.860, then delta is equal to 40.9 degrees. 40.9 degrees. It is the third problem. Next one, the fourth problem is at 45 degrees to the magnetic meridian, the apparent dip is 30 degrees. The true dip is at 45 degrees to the magnetic meridian means theta equal to 45 degrees. Apparent dip is 30 degrees. Delta dash is equal to 30. What is the value of tan delta? Tan delta dash is equal to tan delta by cos theta. Tan delta is equal to tan delta dash into cos theta. Tan 30 into cos 45. 1 by root 3 into 1 by root 2. It is equal to 1 by root 6. Then delta is equal to tan inverse of 1 by root 6. This is the true dip. Again, fifth problem is at a certain place, the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field is 0.28 Gauss and its vertical component is 0.4 Gauss. Find the angle of dip and also second one, Earth's total magnetic field. Given BH is equal to 0.28 horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field is 0.28 and vertical component of Earth's magnetic field is 0.40. BV is equal to 0.40 Gauss. You know tan delta is equal to BV by BH. That is BV by BH is equal to BV 0.4 by 0.28. It is nearly 0.7. Then delta is equal to tan inverse of 0.7. It is approximately equal to 35 degrees. Resultant Earth's magnetic field B is equal to root of BH square plus BV square. 0.28 whole square plus 0.4 whole square. It is equal to 0.49 Gauss. It is the resultant magnetic field. Next one. Sixth problem is, here it is the sixth problem. It is somehow different from the remaining five. A dip needle oscillating in a vertical plane makes 40 oscillations per minute in a magnetic meridian and 30 oscillations per minute in a vertical plane at right angles to the meridian, magnetic meridian. Find the angle of dip. Are you understand? Once again I will repeat the problem. A dip needle, here dip needle, it is an instrument. It is also called as the dip circle. Dip circle is an instrument which is used to find the angle of dip at a given place. Remember the point. The device used to measure the angle of dip at a place is dip circle. Right. A dip needle is oscillating in a vertical plane, makes 40 oscillations per minute. 40 oscillations per minute. 40 oscillations per minute. So T1 is equal to, what is T1? Time period. Time period means time taken for one oscillation. Here the time taken for 40 oscillations is 60 seconds. For one oscillation is equal to 60 by 40. It is T1 per minute in a magnetic meridian plane. And 30 oscillations per minute, second time period T2 is equal to 60 by 30. 60 by 30. In a vertical plane at right angles to the magnetic meridian. But here the time period T equal to 2 pi into root of I by MBH. 2 pi constant, I constant and M constant, T proportional to 1 by root BH. So in the first case, the needle oscillates in the Earth's total field B. Earth's total field. But in the second case, BH is equal to, horizontal component BH is equal to BE cos 90, because in the second case the plane is perpendicular to magnetic meridian. Angle between them is 90. Cos 90 is equal to 0. Only BV is there. BV is equal to BE sin delta. BE sin delta. So T proportional to 1 by root B. Now T1 by T2 is equal to root of B2 by B1. B2 is equal to BE sin delta by B1 is equal to BE. BE cancel. It is equal to root sin delta. This should be equal to T1 by T2 is equal to 30 by 40. 30 by 40 is equal to root sin delta. Sin delta is equal to 9 by 16. Squaring on both sides. That is 0.56. Delta is equal to 34.4 degrees. This is the value of dip angle at the given place. Next one, seventh problem. A magnet is suspended so as to swing horizontally, makes 50 vibrations per minute at a place where the dip is 30 degrees and 40 vibrations per minute where the dip is 45 degrees. Compare the Earth's total fields at the two places. So again I will repeat the problem. A magnet is suspended so as to swing horizontally, that makes 50 vibrations per minute. 50 vibrations per minute. Here number of vibrations per second is called frequency. Again frequency N is equal 2 pi into root of MBH by I. Relation between N and B is N is proportional to root BH. N1 by N2 is equal to root of BH1 by BH2. But BH is equal to horizontal component of its magnetic field is equal to BE cos delta. So in the first case, BH1 is equal to BE1 cos delta 1, cos theta 1. Okay, cos delta, cos delta, it is also cos delta. BE2 into cos delta 2 is equal to cos 45. First one is 30, second one is 45. Therefore, n1 by n2 is equal to 50 by 40. On solving this, BE1 by BE2 is equal to 25 by 8 root 6. This is the ratio of the magnetic inductions at the given two places. Come on, try to solve the problems, my dear students. Keep it memory. So, what are the problems? First one in module 1 classwork 55 and 56. Note these problems, homework problems. Module 2 classwork 38 to 42. Module 3 38 to 43. Module 1 homework nil. Module 2 homework nil. There is no single problem in module 1, module 2 homework sessions. Right? Okay. Right. These are the some examples about the angle of dip. So the next one, here I will explain what is meant by magnetic flux, what is meant by magnetic flux density, and what is Gauss line magnetism. First one, magnetic flux. So, magnetic field. Magnetic field means the region around the given pole which can filter the other magnetic materials. The total region around the bar magnet which can influence the other magnetic materials is known as the magnetic field. Magnetic fields are of two types. They are called uniform magnetic field and non-uniform magnetic field. So in case of uniform magnetic field, magnetic lines of forces straight and parallel. This is only the difference between uniform and non-uniform. In case of uniform field, lines of forces are straight and parallel. But in case of non-uniform field, lines of forces, they are not straight and parallel. Here the straight and parallel means magnetic induction B that remains constant both in magnitude and direction at all points. That's why the field is said to be uniform magnetic field. So in this uniform magnetic field, this is a surface. It is a closed surface. Here we are choosing. It is a closed surface. So this is a small area. It is a small area on the given surface. That small area is represented by ds. Small angles and small areas, they are considered as the vectors. The direction of the small area is always along the normal drawn to the surface. This is the normal or perpendicular. So ds is a small area, it is a vector, and whose direction is along the normal drawn to the surface. Now here, the total number of magnetic lines of forces passing through the given area normally is defined as the magnetic flux. Right? The total number of magnetic lines passing through the given area normally. Here the flux is represented by phi. Total flux passing through the small area is represented by d phi. So d phi is equal to b into or b bar dot ds bar. Or this should be equal to b bar into b into ds into cos theta. The total flux passing through the entire surface is equal to phi. That phi is equal to integral b bar dot ds bar. That is equal to integral b ds into cos theta. bds into cos theta. So here phi is equal to b bar dot a bar. Simply we can write as total area equal to a bar. ba cos theta. Or here also phi is equal to integral b into ds into cos theta. That is b into phi is equal to b into integral ds is equal to total area a. Integral ds is equal to a into cos theta. So this is the formula for total flux passing through the given surface. Phi equal to ba cos theta. For example, let the given surface placed perpendicular to the field. Perpendicular to the field means angle between the aerial vector and also field. This theta becomes 0. Cos 0 is equal to 1. Cos 0 is equal to 1 means total flux passing through it is phi is equal to B into A. This should be maximum. If the given plane is placed parallel to the field means angle between the normal and field is 90. In that situation, the flux phi is equal to 0. It is the minimum, this is the maximum. So in general, the flux phi is equal to BA cos theta. Here, B is the magnitude of B bar, A is also the magnitude of A bar. Cos function is a scalar. It is a scalar. So the flux is said to be a scalar quantity. Because flux is nothing but the number of lines passing through the surface. So here this is the definition. The total number of lines of induction passing normal through the surface is called magnetic flux. So let us discuss the units. SI unit of phi is equal Weber, and CGS unit of flux is equal to Maxwell, scientist names. Also here 1 Weber is equal to, relation between them is 1 Weber is equal to 10 to the power 8 Maxwells. So what is the SI unit of flux? Weber. CGS unit of flux is Maxwell. 1 Weber is equal to 10 to the power 8 Maxwells. Now it is a scalar. Next one, magnetic flux density or magnetic induction field. Already we will discuss the concept as well as definition about B. B is the magnetic induction field. Now it is also termed as magnetic flux density. Flux density means flux per unit area. From the same formula, maximum flux is equal to B, phi equal to B into A. From this formula, B is equal to phi by A. If A is equal to 1, B is equal to phi. A is equal to 1 means the total flux passing through unit area normally is known as the flux density. It is also called as magnetic induction field. That's why the flux through the unit area normally is known as the flux density. So B is equal to phi by A. B is a vector quantity. B is equivalent to phi by A. Now it is a vector quantity. So here SI unit of B is equal to phi by A. Here the unit of phi is equal to Weber. Area unit is meter square. Weber per meter square. It is also equal to Tesla. Next one, CGS unit of flux